Today we're in Anaheim, California, and in this video we're going to show you how we built this pondless waterfall. On this pondless waterfall system, we have a water storage basin that has a capacity of holding 200 gallons. This water feature has 3 separate drops and a spillway that starts off the entire waterfall. So stay tuned to watch the entire build, and you're going to want to stick around to see what this looks like at night. So coming into this project, I definitely had some concern or an awareness of where we were working. Just pulling up to the yard and walking through and seeing how beautifully kept up the yard was. I think even Martha Stewart might approve. So everything was so beautiful. My hope was that we would be able to do something in a way that would not only meet the homeowner standards, but exceed her expectations as well. Yeah, we're gonna be working on a 17-foot pondless waterfall and stream package. It is going in an existing raised planter bed with an existing tree and some landscape and irrigation. It's gonna be a little bit tight because we only have about 6 feet of width to work with. We're also limited on access and getting our machine through the side yard, but we're gonna do the best that we can with what we have and see what we come up with. So it's all in this area.
Starting from this corner?
Yeah, basically that edge, all the way down to about this point. But I feel like the Mini X we could get through here. This is the one zone that's gonna be an issue. But why don't we offload everything and just put it right here? What do you think about that?
We can do that.
And then the plywood itself mostly is gonna be to protect the artificial turf.
Okay.
You know what might be hard getting through there is the buggy.
Think it'll struggle?
Oh, just the width. So something that we're very accustomed to is squeezing through a side yard gate that's 3 feet or less in width. On this project, because there was a tight side yard, but there's not only a tight side yard, but there was also a trellis that we had to squeeze through. My initial measurements, I knew we could get the machine in, but once we got on site with the equipment, I was a little bit concerned that those measurements weren't so accurate. But once we got the buggy through, because that's a bit wider than our Mini X, I was confident that we were gonna be able to bring in the equipment that we needed to pull this project off the way that we wanted. So as you'll see in most of our videos and when we're using equipment, we are hoisting the boulders with a strap. Our go-to strap is a 1-inch wide by usually about a 6-foot endless loop strap. This can carry typically up to an 18-inch boulder. Sometimes we're able to manage carrying or hoisting 24-inch boulders with this strap. But when they do get a little bit bigger, we go to a longer strap. I'm coming down.
Yeah.
You want to move your hands? You think we can tilt it? Yeah, let's put it in the buggy. I don't know how they got this thing in here.
I know.
Up more?
That should be good.
Okay. Watch your fingers. What we're here doing today is a little bit of demo work. We're gonna get rid of the existing rocks that they had here, figure out where their drip line is running, move the existing lighting wire out of the way, get rid of some shrubs, and then what we're gonna do is kind of figure out where the drip line is of this tree and put a 6 large Aquablox water storage basin in. So here I'm measuring the length of the water feature area. One of my favorite apps on the iPhone is the actual measuring tool. It's surprisingly accurate and saves a lot of time versus rolling out the big measuring tape. Here we're marking out where the Aquablox reservoir is gonna go. And from there we're measuring the 17 feet to figure out where the start of the waterfall is gonna be. One of the things that we had to keep in consideration when marking out the actual reservoir was the existing tree and the drip line to avoid any major roots.
Grade are we going at?
So let's go for finished grade. Should be this corner.
So,
But that's gonna be low.
I think it would be this corner because we would have to go 8 inches or 6 inches from here down.
6 inches from there down, from the bottom of the brick. Let's go off of this on the top of the brick, that corner. And then what I'm thinking, putting the vault right here. And then what we could do is start the liner here, and then maybe we just excavate a little bit here and stack up a couple of those flow cells. So when we do this basin, leave extra liner over here. And then we could put the other liner that's going for the stream, end it right there. So in most cases, the water that goes back into a pondless water feature is going to end up going down and disappearing into some pebbles where the end of the basin is. When we construct that basin, it's usually using Aquablox. In this case, we're using large Aquablox that are about 18 inches in depth. The reason we couldn't push that basin further where I wanted the water to end was the tree roots. We didn't want to go too deep and damage the roots. So instead of trying to cut the roots, what we did was we ended the basin a little bit short, and to get water to go past the Aquablox and back into the reservoir, we use these flow cell panels, which are a lot shallower in depth. That provides a void, allowing the water to go in, over, and back under and through to the basin. And then here what we're doing is just our normal stream up, and then as this steps up, hopefully we could put a little drop here, and then we're gonna start building up this area.
3 drops?
Overall, 3 drops would be the goal, but they're gonna be tiny drops.
About 4 or 5 inches?
2 to 4 inches each. Okay, so on this waterfall, I knew what the existing elevations were that we had to work with, and what we were trying to always avoid is building waterfalls that are too tall and looking out of place like a volcano. So I took the overall elevation change was gonna be and divided by 3, and that's where I came up with a 2 to 4 inches per waterfall. So here we are clearing out the existing planting area, getting it ready for some of the dirt spoils that we're gonna pull out of the reservoir area. So as we're excavating for the basin, we're using some of that extra dirt to start building up the waterfall area upstream. As we're spreading that dirt, we are compacting to avoid any future settling. So here Carlos is checking the depth, making sure the depth of the basin is at the right elevation. Another important part of it is making sure that that bottom of the basin excavation is level, so the Aquablocks sit level. And we do that before we do the final excavation for the pump vault, which extends below the bottom of the Aquablocks. So here Carlos is cutting the liner to size for the basin, which was about a 10 by 12 piece of liner. And then we're gonna sandwich that liner in between 2 pieces of geotextile fabric in order to protect that liner from stretching as well as from the Aquablocks. So here we are getting the liner ready to bring into the basin hole. We have been pre-stacking the liner and the fabric and bringing them in as one unit. And as you'll see here, we're a little bit tight on space, but we made it work. It could be a fantasy. Oh, yeah. So here we are actually bringing in the liner and the fabric. We do try to avoid any unnecessary folds or wrinkles. One thing that seems to always happen is a rock will fall in and we'll have to pull that liner back and fish out that rock, but it's just kind of par for the course and we make it work. So here Carlos is adding an extension to the pump vault. We need to add an extension anytime we're using large Aquablocks like we are on this project. We can't go on together with suspicious minds. And we can... This line right here, right?
You said this one, right?
Yeah. So what we like to do is keep the basin itself square or rectangular so we don't have a bunch of extra folds in the liner. So in order for us to do this, we do end up having to cut one Aquablock in order to fill the void between the vault and the Aquablock in front of that one. So once the Aquablocks are set, we wrap it up with the liner and fabric. Our preferred method of backfilling the basin is to use sand as it self-compacts and it provides a nice cushion between the native excavation or the native soil in the excavation and the fabric liner and the Aquablocks. There are other ways to make this work, but this is our preferred method. I could stick around and get along with you. Hello. And then here, what I think I want to do is with these, you get what I was saying on this part? Okay.
So you basically want to almost stack them, right?
I want to stack, I think stacking it would help, probably. And then the water, I think we have to notch this out. So this is,
About level to that.
about level to the Aquablox, right? And then the water can spill here and then go back that way. And then we could put the liner, our bib liner, all the way up to here. And then I think this will give us plenty of space without messing up the roots too much of the tree. And it'll give that extended look. But what we probably need to do at some point is excavate all the way around here so we can put rocks and make this really look like part of the entire system, right? Here we are trenching for the plumbing for the waterfall, which is going to be a 2-inch pipe, which is going to be able to handle the flow from the pump that we're going to be using, which is an Aquascape Aquasurge 2,000 to 4,000 gallon per hour variable speed pump. That will get plumbed into the vault with a dual union check valve. As we are limited in space like we normally are in our Southern California backyard, we had a load of rock that we had to buggy from the front to the back, and we are gonna stage these rocks in the existing artificial turf area. Like we normally do, we try to do as little damage as possible as we're constructing these things. We're gonna put down some plywood to help protect the artificial turf, and as we dump the rocks from the buggy, we like to actually build up some rocks in order to lessen the blow of the rocks so they don't cause more damage than they need to as we are dumping. So now that we have the rocks staged near us, now the fun part begins where we get to choose and start setting rocks.
First shelf here.
Uh-huh.
Second shelf here.
Okay.
Weir.
Okay.
Framer, another framer here.
So you're feeling it on that side,
On this
closer to us. We could try it. Let's try it. And then if that doesn't work, we'll try the other way.
Okay.
Now we're ready to set the first rock, which is usually the most important rock that sets the tone for the entire water feature. Carlos and I were actually eyeing the same exact rock that we wanted to set first. We had a little bit of a difference of opinion on where to set it. Carlos wanted it on the left, I wanted it on the right.
I don't like this edge. I think we'll switch it over here.
Once we set a rock for the first time, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's where the rock is gonna sit. We do kind of look at it from all angles, and sometimes it just doesn't feel right. Whether it's the angle that the rock is sitting, or a turn, or how we visualize water coming up and around that rock, we may change a rock 10 times before we're actually happy with it. But again, we're willing to do it until we feel that it's the best solution possible.
Let's just scoop more this way.
Do you want to go towards the wall? You're good there?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we try this? Let's move this back to here, and I want to spin it like this. Maybe this point being right about here. Actually, to me a little bit more. So it may not look like there were any major adjustments, but for us, even the slightest turn or the slightest angle adjustment will make a huge difference in the way it makes us feel. And that's what we're going for, is at the end, being happy with the results. Right now, I feel like the water's pointing this way, too straight. I'd like to get it a little bit of a turn, so maybe 6 to 8 inches over there. A little less, there. From there, we actually tweaked it a little bit more, a couple turns, a couple adjustments, and we're finally happy with where it finally sat. Are we happy with this?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that we're happy with the first frame rock, we're gonna search for the weir. So that one to me is too, not wide enough. The three I'm eyeballing, it will be this guy, this I would hope to save, or that guy.
This one?
Yeah. I feel like either edge is gonna work on that one. As long as we tuck in that one of the corners, will be fine. So I could see water spilling this way or this way. You don't see it that way?
Yeah, but the only thing how you're saying it's not sharp enough.
I think that'll work, Carlos. I think we can make that one work somehow. So there is some trial and error as far as setting rocks. The first rock that I thought would be a nice weir, once we got into the spot, it didn't feel so good. That's gonna be too flat. Yeah, maybe that's not the right rock. Yeah, I think it's just gonna roll down that curve. I mean, it would look cool. Let's try another rock. How about this guy? So we took that out and went back to the drawing board, found another weir that we put in place, and with a few adjustments, made it work. Yeah, that's pretty close. Cool? Yeah. Works for me. So as I've explained before, we do spend quite a bit of time selecting the right rocks for the right locations, trying to make sure we have every angle covered. When we do come across that one rock that we've selected and we visualize it going into a perfect spot and it just so happens to land exactly the way we want it, it's an unbelievable feeling. It's just kind of a sign that it was meant to be. Dude, that looks perfect from here. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. The two framers kind of marrying up together very well with the weir in between, with the weir rock actually having some unique characteristics in it. Just imagining the water flowing through was super exciting. So here we are going through the build of the remaining part of the stream and waterfall build. As you'll notice, we do flip the liner back and forth quite a bit. This is actually my favorite way of building waterfalls and streams, as it allows us to be creative with the rocks that we have and actually shape the dirt below and conform to the look and feel that we're wanting for the overall water feature look. So now that all the rocks are set, it's our favorite time of the build where we get to turn on the pumps for the first time. Oh, that looks rad already. So we get to turn on the pumps, watch the waterfalls flow, and as we're watching, we're looking for any areas that we need to make adjustments. As we're watching the waterfalls flow for the first time, there's a couple of common adjustments that we need to make.
It can be because of this one right here. All the water that's coming.
When we are building waterfalls and streams, there's a tendency for the water to go under the rocks or through rocks and through the cracks, through the sides, between the rock and the liner. We just need to foam better, and then less water will come this way. I'm not too worried about it. We do our best to seal everything off with waterfall foam before that happens, but inevitably, some water is going to find its way through the path of least resistance, and so we have a couple of methods of either foaming more and eliminating those paths, or actually in this situation where Carlos is playing with the liner, he ended up opening it up more so water could freely go through and under rather than up and over the rock where it's going to leak over the liner edge. So what I'm doing here is playing with the water in the waterfall, trying to redirect the water to go over the weir rock, though kind of the way that I wanted to flow. One way that we do that is actually with my hands, what I'm doing there is kind of damming up a little corner to see if I can't manipulate the water to go take a harder turn and have more velocity to go over the weir rock. We force the water this way, get a little bit more action this way. I think we can make it work. Okay, here's what we need to do. Starting off here, the one that's on top of the weir or the spillway, we need to raise it or open it up so there's more room for the water to come through here without being so noisy here. If I lift this up, water is going to come over more freely and not be so busy here. I don't like this busyness. Okay, so that's what I want to do there. I think we can make this rock work. Bring this up a 1/4 inch so water doesn't want to come this way and it forces it more this way, hopefully giving us more action here. Over here, if we put a cobble or something, a piece of rock, to force water more to come around this way, it's going to be within one of these areas that you're going to get more water coming over the middle. This would be cool if the main viewing area is from there, but since it's here, we're losing it. Same with that. If we were looking at it from this angle, it would look cool. The problem is it's just not giving us the action that we want from
Over here.
that. Feels better. And then take that other rock out from underneath, I think it'll be golden. I could live with that. I still don't love it though. At the top of the waterfall, how we have this one starting is an actual spillway. This is a 12-inch spillway where the water kind of diffuses coming out of a pipe, slows down and comes up and over a waterfall. It's just too much noise up there, don't you think? I don't want it to feel like a pipe burst and it's trying to find its way out kind of feeling. Am I being crazy? In this situation, we had an actual rock covering that spillway because it is a piece of plastic that we're trying to hide. And the way what that rock was doing was kind of pinching the water area. So the water was getting forced in through a smaller crack. And so what I wanted to do was open it up so it didn't look like the water was coming out of a burst pipe. Rather, it was more of a smooth, calming flow up and over the waterfall. What if we do lose that rock, Carlos, and try putting this on top and then covering that with something else? I like the idea, don't get me wrong, but it's just not working. Everything else looks really good. Again, the ideal was good, but it was taking over too much space over there. By opening it up, it just feels better. Like, see how it opened it up?
Oh yeah.
It just feels more open and better.
It looks feeling too heavy over there.
Yeah. The little things that I'm saying we need to tweak, but overall, we're 95% there. So we've just wrapped up this pondless water feature out in Anaheim. We're gonna bring out the client and see what she thinks. Hi, Liz.
Hi.
You ready to do this?
Yes.
So you've been waiting a bit to actually see this thing on?
Been waiting a long bit.
Well, thanks for the patience.
No, not a long bit with you guys, just like in general, the dream of
The
this.
anticipation.
My husband's wanted a stream off of that pond for a very long time.
Oh, is that right?
And we just never made that happen.
So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like how you finally decided to pull the trigger into
Sure.
it?
So we've had that pond for at least 20 years. And it used to be plants around it, not brick. And then we thought often about adding a stream to it. And but just never really made it happen. It didn't make sense. Where would the stream go? So this had a raised garden bed in it that my husband and daughter built me many years ago, and it finally started to fall apart and disintegrate, so we took it out, and then I just had this big blank canvas. I had nothing, and so I had someone who was helping me a little bit in the yard, and we stood here and he said, well, you obviously like water features. What about some kind of water feature here? And then I was like, oh, the stream. This would be a perfect spot for the stream. And that's kind of how it all started.
And then some of it, I think you told me, I thought it had something to do with the garden answer too. I know you watch some garden answer stuff.
Yes. So I do watch Garden Answer, and they had a huge pond built last year. And then this year they had the Dream Stream. And so that's how I thought, well, when I thought, how am I going to figure out who to build this? I thought I'll go to the Aquascape website and look for a certified contractor in my area.
And so how was that process?
Awesome.
And then,
Yeah.
I mean, because we had talked for, maybe about a month right before finally pulling the trigger with us. How did you land on us, if you don't mind
Not at all.
sharing?
I'm pretty good about doing my due diligence, and I tell people up front I'm super honest. So I'm just going to tell you, I had 2 people come out and look at it, and I said from the beginning, I have 2 of you coming to look. So I always just let people know where I'm at. And when I first met you, there just was a connection. It's just you and your personality, but also your wife's a nurse and I'm a nurse. So that, she's
That
a nurse
helps.
practitioner. Anyway, so I just felt an immediate connection, and I asked a lot of questions, and you came out more than once. You met us at other places more than once. And so you were super patient with all my questions, and that was awesome, but it was really more like the immediate connection that just continued to this moment.
If you wouldn't mind sharing, what was like the construction process for you? How did it go as far as us and what happened back here?
Well, usually when we have a project, this brick planter is fairly new. It used to be railroad ties, and we changed it to brick. I'm the kind of person that I'm always looking over people's shoulders. Like just wanting to make sure it's done well, done right, but also capture something in case it's going in the wrong direction instead of coming home after an entire day and being like, oh my goodness, this is wrong. Now we've got to rip something out and start over. So I usually am out there looking over the shoulders. And this time, maybe first day I was out here, and then I just kind of felt this, I just wanted to back off and let you guys do your thing.
And do you know what that feeling was? Like, why? Was there something in particular that sparked that?
It was trust and knowing that you're not only the expert, but you're also the artist. And I had no business telling you where things should be or what, but I would, anytime I looked at it, which was not very often, I just loved what I saw.
Cool.
So I just felt like I don't have any reason to do any input.
Well, you have an amazing community here. Like, right, you've been here for quite a while. Your neighbors have been here for quite a while. They were even almost involved. They're like, hey, I'm taking pictures for Liz. Like when we pulled up the rocks because you were working.
Yes.
I was like, wow, it's such a nice feeling that you have these neighbors that care about you and what's going on too. So that was really unique and I thought special.
Yeah.
That you guys have that relationship.
Yeah, we're always keeping an eye out for each other.
Well, very cool. So are you ready to have us turn this thing on?
I feel like not nervous in a bad way, like excited. I have butterflies.
Okay, so I'm gonna plug it in and let's see what you think.
Oh my gosh. It's so beautiful without even being on. Wow. I can't believe this is my house. I said to my husband last night, just looking out at the lights, I felt like this is like a hotel.
Yeah, so the water feature at night with lights is just a different experience that even without the water last night it looked good. I think tonight when you have this thing on, just the way the lights dance with the water makes it even more special. And so we got the three drops in here. And can you, I'll let you
No, I'm
just kind of take it in.
I'm just taking it all in. I don't even know. The drops were really important to me, and I know some of the first pictures we looked at on your website and that, I was saying I love that drop and that drop, but it was really more like a waterfall into a pond moment. But oh my gosh, they're perfect. Like this is amazing.
Another part that we're trying to figure out are your different views. So when you're even from the inside, we're hoping to capture at least almost wherever you stand or sit to be able to see a drop.
Yeah.
Right, so if you're here, you see that's welcoming you. As you come out or sit here, this different angle, you got that first fall. And then even back on this side, if people are sitting here and turning around, they have different angles of the whole thing.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
So you're happy?
Oh my gosh. Happy's not the word for it. Like, so thrilled.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. I mean, we're so happy that you're happy.
Yeah.
We honestly love it too. I'm super happy with the way it turned out, and this is why we do it.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're obviously working in your gifts and talents for sure.
It's the only thing I'm good at.
Yeah,
You can ask my wife.
I wouldn't say that. I don't know about that, but I wouldn't say that. But this is obviously you're very gifted, and you have an amazing team that works with you. Amazing
crew that cares about what they do, which is really important.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thanks for watching our waterfall build in Anaheim, California. If you could do us a huge favor, like, comment, and subscribe. It'll help keep us going and give us the ability to keep doing what we love and bring you more content.